Hey there, Fashion Crossroads fans and Fashion Crossroads fashionistas. It's good to see you tonight. This is a Wednesday wardrobing, our May series, which is Love Your Laundry. And last week we talked quality, how to spot it. I went through a lot of different ways that you can look for quality in your clothing. So if you missed that, make sure you go back and see that. You can either scroll through the feed of our Fashion Crossroads Fashionistas page, or you can go find it on YouTube too, if that's easier for you. Tonight, the topic is part 2, and I'm going to be giving you a fabric primer. Hey Laura, how are you? So basically tonight is going to be, let's talk fabrics. I don't know if you've ever had that experience where you are reading the labels of your clothing and you have absolutely no idea what those things mean. So tonight we're going to kind of break that down and explain that to you. I'm going to show you examples and hopefully kind of just help demystify that whole thing just a little bit for you. So one of the things that is important to know before we get started is generally natural fabrics, natural fibers are going to be more expensive than synthetic fibers. And then there's a whole group of fabrics that are part man-made, part nature. So those ones are going to be kind of in between on the expensive. So from the purely nature-made to the part man-made, part nature-made, to the purely man-made. That's the scale that we're going to be looking at. And generally, as you go from the purely natural down to the completely man-made, you're going to get less expensive in fabric cost as you go through that. But then you also have other, I guess, things to consider with those fabrics as well. So let's start with kind of the big guy, which is cotton. So of course we know cotton comes from the cotton plant. It's primarily composed of cellulose, which is an insoluble organic compound crucial to plant structure. It's soft and fluffy. The term cotton refers to the part of the cotton plant that grows in the boil. So if you've ever seen a cotton plant, it kind of creates like a little cone, and the cotton grows in there, and to pick it, you pick the cotton out of that boil. Once it's picked, the fibers are spun into yarn and then woven into fabric. So in better cottons, the fibers are combed, which removes the shorter fibers. So in every level of cotton, there is a quality of cotton. That's why you can hold two items that are cotton, 100% cotton, up to each other, and one will be significantly more expensive because there are degrees and levels of cotton. So if they just take the fibers and they don't comb them, then you have a mixture of short and long fibers, and that creates a less soft and luxurious, but also less expensive cotton. If the cotton is combed, then it's going to be more soft and more luxurious and also more expensive. Cotton can be machine washed and dried. That's one of the benefits to it, but it will shrink. So unless your garment tells you the fabric is pre-shrunk or already washed and dried, you will want to take care to prevent shrinkage. I usually recommend hanging cotton to dry and then using a machine dryer for a 10-minute permanent cycle to remove any stiffness in the fabric. Cotton is great because it is breathable. So this is a great example of a cotton blouse. It has a little bit of trim on the bottom, but you have lots of different weights of cotton. And if you ever see the term Egyptian cotton, there's another name for it, algodon. Algodon cotton, that means it's Egyptian cotton, and Egyptian cotton is the most expensive. It's considered like the prime, highest level of cotton that you can buy. So if you see the word algodon or Egyptian cotton, like, you know, a lot of times we'll see those in sheets, you're getting the highest quality cotton on the market, and you're also going to pay more for that as well. So yeah, so the benefits of cotton: machine wash, machine dry. It's breathable. That's one of the big benefits of all of the natural fibers, is that because they are woven together and there's space in between the weaves, they breathe. The air will move through them. And that helps if you struggle with hot flashes or regulating your body temperature. You're going to probably gravitate towards more natural fibers because they're going to breathe better. They're going to help regulate your body temperature, whereas the synthetic fibers don't do as good of a job with that. Okay, so that's cotton. Cotton is highly volatile depending upon what's happening with the crop. So if we have a poor weather year, that affects cotton, the prices go up. When we had the supply problems after COVID, a lot of that had to do with cotton production and getting production going again. So you have all of those issues with a natural fiber. You have the fact that somebody has to pick it, the fact that somebody has to weave it, and all of the process that goes in with that, as well as the things that can happen with weather and things like that. So that's why cotton will go up and down, and you'll see, you know, maybe, you know, one time you can buy a nice cotton for this much, but then 3 years later you're paying 3 times as much. It's all dependent upon what's happening in the environment. Okay, so next is Georgette. So Georgette can be made from silk or rayon, viscose, and polyester. It's obviously the price of Georgette will reflect which source of fabric is used. So if you have a silk Georgette, again, silk being the natural fiber, it's going to be more expensive than if it's coming from rayon, viscose, or polyester, which are all man-made or semi-synthetic fibers. Georgettes are often crinkled, sheer, and have a non-shiny finish. Care of Georgette will depend upon the source fabric. If silk is used, you will need to take greater care in laundering. Synthetic fibers like rayon, viscose, and polyester can often be machine washed, but rayon will shrink, so you need to be aware of that possibility. So here's a good example of a Georgette. You also will hear people refer to this fabric as chiffon, but essentially Georgette is just this lightweight, often crinkled, so you can see that this has the little pleating in it. Fabric, it's typically associated with dressier items. So like you'll notice that it's oftentimes put with dresses or nicer jackets and things like that. It's more often that in a clothing store you would find Georgette. Chiffon is generally kind of reserved for really, really nice dresses, more like Mother of the Bride and things like that. So this is what Georgette looks like. Georgette is beautiful in the sense that it's very light and airy. It really is a dressy fabric, so it's really pretty on dresses specifically. All right, next is jersey. So jersey is a soft, stretchy fabric that is made from cotton blends, and synthetic fabrics. Simply, as an example, uses jersey, and I'm going to show you that in a second, that is made with polyester. So polyester being a synthetic fabric. The fabric can be light to medium weight. Jersey can pill and snag. So that's what you have to watch about it. For this reason, it is not recommended that you wash it with zippers, Velcro items, or grommets, things like that. Simply recommends their jersey be washed in cold water and in the machine and then hung to dry. Because jersey is wrinkle resistant, it will usually dry wrinkle free. So this is jersey. So this is that, some people call it travel knit, some people call it jersey, but it is this kind of silky feeling, I don't know how to describe it. It's like a matte finished, silky feeling fabric, soft, naturally stretchy. That's one of the things that people love about jersey. And again, because it won't wrinkle, so it's great as a travel fabric. There are different weights of jersey on the market. Simply's is the heaviest one on the market. That's one of the reasons why it's more expensive. But with that weight, then you get that incredible drape as well. So great fabric for travel. Again, most jerseys that I've come across are made from synthetic fibers, so they're not going to be as breathable as a natural fiber, but you also get that no shrink, no fade, no wrinkle benefit as well, which is definitely something to consider, because cotton obviously will shrink, will fade, and will wrinkle. Okay, so all of these, a lot of it depends on what you're looking for in your fabrics. Next is a linen. Linen is a natural fiber. It comes from the flax plant. It is known to be strong and lightweight and breathable. It is often used in clothing for hot and humid places because it allows air to flow through. And again, helps regulate your body temperature. Linen should be washed in lukewarm or cold water and gently dried. So you don't want to use either hot water or a hot dryer when you are caring for your linen, because it's really hard on the fabric. So again, this is a natural fiber. It comes from a plant. So same with cotton. It has to be harvested. It has to be made into a fiber and then produced into a fabric. So it generally is considered a luxury fabric because it's usually more expensive. It will wrinkle. That's part of the charm of linen, but it is the most breathable fabric on the market. And you can see, if you get really close, how you can see even the lightweight weave that's in linen, and that is why it's such a great fabric for really humid places, because it is the most breathable, and it is lightweight as well. It's also extremely soft, and if you are a linen wearer, you just accept the wrinkles. That's just part of it. But they've come a long way with linen. They're starting to blend it with other things that help it to not wrinkle as much too, but still keep that breathability and the lightweightness of it. But don't feel like if you wear linen and you're wrinkled, that's a bad thing. It's not. That's exactly what the fabric is supposed to do. But like I said, you do want to be careful about how you launder linen. It is not something that you throw in with the rest of your laundry. It needs to be separated and handled a little bit differently. All right, next is modal. So modal is our first semi-synthetic fabric. So it is made from beech tree pulp. So that's the that's the natural portion, the beech tree pulp. It's a form of rayon. You will often find modal in fabric blends, and it is considered a high-end fabric because it is soft and luxurious feeling. It is important to point out that modal is more expensive than cotton or viscose. So very rarely will you see 100% modal. Modal is almost always used as a blend, and blended with those other fabrics like cotton or viscose, it will give the cotton a very silky, very soft feel. So you start to get fabrics like this that are not jersey, they're more cotton, but they've got this, beautiful sheen and almost like a silky feeling, but still the benefit of the other fabric that it's blended with. So if you see modal, know that that's a more expensive fabric. It's considered a luxury fabric, so you probably are going to be spending more money for that item. Then next we have polyester. Polyester is 100% man-made. It originates from petrochemicals, including coal and petroleum. Did you know that polyester was made from coal and petroleum? It's durable, it doesn't shrink, it's very useful in clothing. It's often blended with other fabrics as it can be used to strengthen more delicate fabrics. The big downside to polyester is that it is not breathable and can become smelly when it absorbs sweat. Polyester can be blended with other natural and more breathable fabrics to help with this. It also acts to stabilize fabrics that are prone to shrinking when it is used in blends. So 100% polyester is going to look like this. It's that, wrinkle-free, you can wad it up, nothing's going to happen to it. That's 100% polyester. But they are doing such amazing things with polyester anymore, and actually creating like fabrics that seem like other fabrics. They really they look, they feel, they mimic other fabrics, and there are these crazy blends of polyester and all these other fabrics. So it's really interesting what they can do with polyester. Polyester of our grandma's day were those, indestructible pants, polyester elastic waist pants that literally, I probably have customers that bought them when we were carrying them 40 years ago that still have them. That's how indestructible polyester is. So that's why it is very helpful to use it to blend with other fabrics, especially delicate fabrics. So a lot of times you'll see poly rayon blends, because rayon is a very delicate fabric. It doesn't hold up in the washing machine well. It's prone to shrinking. It's prone to getting out of shape. But when you blend it with a more durable fabric like polyester, then you start to get the benefits of the polyester affecting the rayon, so the rayon does better in the washing machine. So that is polyester. All right, rayon is next. Rayon, like viscose, is a semi-synthetic fabric. It's made from wood pulp. It also requires chemicals which keep it from being considered a natural fiber. According to Who What Wear, one of the most common types of rayon is viscose rayon, which has a lot in common with cotton. It's breathable, moisture absorbent, and a popular choice for casual and athletic wear. It also shows up in dresses, blouses, and outerwear. Secondary types of rayon include modal rayon, typically made from beech trees, and lyocell, seen in everything from denim to dress shirts. This website also notes that we all have experienced that rayon is not durable, and machine washing can cause it to shrink, lose shape, and bleed. That's the problem with rayon. That's why it is so often blended with other things. I would say beware, beware, beware of 100% rayon anything, because it's just not a great fabric. Typically, the real, the H&Ms, the Sheens, the places you're getting $10 tops, $5 tops, whatever, they're almost all rayon. It's cheap, but it does not hold together well. And it's the shirt that you take out of the washer and you're like, what happened? And it's just because as a fabric, it's great in a blend. It's not so great on its own. So beware of 100% rayon anything. All right, next is satin. Satin refers to the weave and not the fabric. So just like twill, satin is elastic, soft, and silky with a beautiful drape. So obviously satin is your shiny, kind of resembles silk, cheaper than silk, is a kind of a synthetic weave that will resemble silk, but you don't have to pay for it. So that's nice. Here's another example of satin. You can see the beautiful sheen. Silk, this one is actual silk, comes from the fiber produced by silkworms to make their nests and cocoons. It's known for its strength, sheen, and luxury. It is often used in formal attire. So silk is a stronger fabric, but it does require special care. It's naturally soft and silky, naturally lightweight, But again, because it has to be harvested from silkworms, it is dependent on environmental factors. If the silkworms are having a bad year, the cost of silk goes up. If there's a production problem, the cost of silk goes up. In general, anything silk is going to cost more money because of the fact that it is coming from a natural source, and because it is considered a luxury fabric. It is, like the blog said, it is typically used in nice formal dress wear. All right, spandex. I don't have an example, but we all know spandex. It is the thing that gives us stretch and makes stuff comfortable. So spandex is the fabric name is interchangeable with the words elastane and lycra. That was revolutionary to me because I always wondered what the difference was between lycra, elastane, and spandex. Well, I learned from doing the research for this blog that it's all the same. It's just 3 words to say the same thing. So lycra, elastane are all spandex. It's all interchangeable. It's blended with other fabrics for the same purpose, to give them stretch. One of the things that I have noticed with spandex, though, is the amount of spandex is really important. So I've noticed that in my higher end brands, typically there's no more than 5% spandex, but more commonly 2 or 3%. In the less expensive brands, that's when you start to get like the 7, the 8, the 9% spandex. And what I've noticed with that are those are the ones that grow, and you have to like wash them to get them to shrink again. Have you ever had that experience where you wear something and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and you literally have to dry it in a dryer to shrink it back down? That happens when there's too much spandex blended into the fabric. So be careful of that. When you're reading your fabric labels, you wanna choose fabrics that are on the lower end of spandex, like I said, 3, 5%, and avoid the ones that are 10, 20, you know, because you get too much stretch and then the item is gonna grow and not hold its shape very well. All right, next is tweed. So great example of tweed here. So tweed is usually made from wool and is woven into a stiff and durable fabric that is characterized by warmth. We usually characterize tweed as winter wear because it's typically put in slacks and jackets, often used in suits. It's typical for the fabric to be made with different colored strands that are woven to create different patterns. And you can see that happening, and you can see that great cross-hatching that's happening in that weave. That's typical of tweed. And again, commonly a winter fabric. Twill. The word twill refers to a weave rather than a fabric. It is characterized by a diagonal pattern, usually has a darker side and a lighter side. It is a durable fabric that is not see-through. Twill is what we typically see in denim and also in chinos. So you know your typical chino pull-on pant, that is twill. Twill is also what we use to make denim. So I don't know if you can see the little crisscross pattern in there, but hopefully you can. And then also you can see that one side is lighter, one side is darker. So those are some ways that you can spot twill. It's one of the most important fabrics that we have because it is the basis for so many of our basics that we love to wear all the time. All right, next is velvet. So here is an example of velvet. This fabric is known for its soft and luxurious feeling. It is shiny, often used for dressy fabrics, especially those for the holidays. Velvet can be made from cotton, linen, wool, mohair, and synthetic fibers, but it was first made from silk. So the very first velvets were made from silk. That's why it has that feeling of a luxury fabric, but it's been changed so much that now you have velvets that are very accessible, even velvets that are used to make casual wear, like lounge wear. So it's kind of changed in its formulation over the years, and then also in its use as well. But that is velvet. This one is lined, so you can't really see the underside of it. But one of the things with velvet is you'll have, if you run your hand against the fabric, one way will be smooth and the other way will be rough because of the way the nap is of the fabric. All right, and last is viscose. Viscose is part synthetic and part natural. It resembles silk because of the wood pulp that is used in its creation. This wood pulp gives it a very similar look and feel to silk. It is often used in clothing items that might have been made from silk, like blouses and dresses, but it's much less expensive than silk. All right, so obviously I did not cover every single fabric. What I tried to do was focus on the fabrics that I run into the most when I am looking at clothing labels. And I feel like we did a pretty good job of covering those. Hopefully you learned some things. I know I definitely did. You know, we're going to talk next week about how to care for fabrics, how to wash them, how to stain, how to treat them for stains. But my general rule of thumb with my own clothing is I have a warm water basket and I have a cold water basket. And my warm water basket is my underwear, my pajamas, my yoga wear, my sweatshirts, my t-shirts, my jeans. My denim jeans, not my colored jeans. And then my cold water is everything else. And most all of my clothing gets in the cold water basket. And so for the cold water basket, I separate it by color, I wash it in cold, and I hang it to dry. And then once it dries, if it's stiff or wrinkled, then I'll put it in like a permanent press cycle for 10 minutes or a wrinkle release cycle if you have a steam cycle on your dryer. Release the wrinkles and soften the fabric, and then it's good to go. And if you do that, if you wash your things in cold and hang them to dry, they're going to last so much longer. So we are going to talk all about that next week. So I hope you will join me. Make sure to share this video with somebody that you think would enjoy it. I would appreciate your comments on telling me something that you learned that you didn't already know. Hopefully I taught you something tonight. Hey Susan, how's it going? You girls have a good night.